Picture this. Two executives walk into a boardroom filled with investors who hold the future of their company in their hands. Both have identical credentials, identical experience, identical solutions. But when the first one speaks, the room goes silent, not with interest, but with doubt. His voice wavers, his words stumble, his message gets lost in a maze of uncertainty. Then the second executive steps forward. Before she even speaks, her presence fills the room. When she opens her mouth, every word lands like a precision strike. Her voice carries the weight of absolute conviction. In less than 5 minutes, she doesn't just present a solution. She paints a vision so compelling that investors are leaning forward, nodding, already mentally committed. What happened? The same information, the same opportunity, but a completely different outcome. The difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't experience. It was the power to communicate like a leader. Here's the brutal truth. In our hyper-connected, attention-scarce world, your ability to communicate with leadership presence isn't just an advantage. It's your survival mechanism. Whether you're pitching to investors, motivating your team, or standing up in a meeting of peers, the leaders of tomorrow are being chosen today based on one critical factor: how they sound when they speak. Welcome to How to Talk Like a Leader, your blueprint for transforming not just how you speak, but how the world responds to you. Over the next 30 minutes, you're going to discover the closely guarded secrets that separate those who follow from those who lead. This isn't about fancy vocabulary or corporate jargon. This is about wielding the most powerful tool humans possess: the ability to influence, inspire, and ignite action through words. Your voice is your weapon. Your words are your ammunition. And by the end of this journey, you'll know exactly how to use both to command any room, lead any team, and create the impact you were born to make. Let's begin. 1. The voice of power. Why leaders speak differently. There's something almost magnetic about the way true leaders communicate. When Winston Churchill addressed Britain during its darkest hour, when Steve Jobs unveiled revolutionary products, when Oprah connects with millions, they all tap into something deeper than mere words. They understand that leadership communication isn't about what you say. It's about how you make people feel when you say it. Research from UCLA reveals that only 7% of communication impact comes from your actual words. 38% comes from your tone of voice, and a staggering 55% comes from your body language and presence. This means that 93% of your leadership impact has nothing to do with your content. It's all about your delivery. Leaders speak differently because they understand 3 fundamental truths. First, they speak with conviction, not just confidence. Confidence can be faked, but conviction comes from deep belief. When Elon Musk talks about colonizing Mars, you don't just hear confidence. You feel his absolute certainty that it will happen. That conviction is contagious. Second, they understand that clarity is kindness. Mediocre communicators hedge their language with phrases like, "I think maybe we should possibly consider thing." Leaders cut through the noise. They say, "We will do this. This is our path. Here's what happens next." Third, they recognize that their voice carries the weight of responsibility. Every word a leader speaks ripples outward, affecting decisions, morale, and outcomes. They choose their words like a surgeon chooses instruments, with precision and purpose. Here's your first transformation technique. For the next week, eliminate these phrases from your vocabulary. I think, maybe we should. Does that make sense? If that's okay with everyone, replace them with, I believe, we will, here's what we're doing, this is our next step. Watch how people's posture changes when you speak. Watch how they start looking to you for direction instead of looking past you for the real decision maker. Commanding attention in the first 30 seconds. In our age of 8-second attention spans, you have exactly 30 seconds to establish yourself as someone worth listening to. Miss this window, and you've lost them, possibly forever. The neuroscience is clear. Within the first few seconds of hearing someone speak, our brains make unconscious judgments about their competence, trustworthiness, and leadership potential. These snap judgments, formed in milliseconds, often determine the entire trajectory of the interaction. Here's how leaders hijack this process and immediately establish dominance. The power of the pause. Before you speak, take a deliberate pause. Count to 3. This does 2 things. It signals that what you're about to say matters, and it forces people to pay attention. Nervous speakers rush into words. Leaders own their silence. Lead with impact. Your opening sentence should be a statement, not a question. Instead of, "Hi everyone, how is everyone doing today?" Try, "Today we're going to solve a problem that's been costing us thousands of dollars every month." Which one makes you lean forward? Use the pattern interrupt. Do something unexpected. Start with a shocking statistic. Begin with a bold statement. Ask a question that challenges assumptions. When Reed Hastings announced Netflix would split into 2 companies, he didn't start with pleasantries. He started with, "I messed up. I owe you an explanation." Let me give you a formula that never fails. In the next X minutes, you're going to discover why, which will help you Z. For example, in the next 10 minutes, you're going to discover 3 strategies that will help you close 30% more deals this quarter. This creates immediate engagement because you've told people exactly what's in it for them. The credibility stack. Within your first 30 seconds, establish why your voice matters. This isn't bragging, it's positioning. After analyzing data from 500 companies, having led 3 successful turnarounds, based on our team's research over the past 6 months. Boss, remember, people don't pay attention to what you're saying until they know why they should care. Give them that reason immediately, or lose them forever. 3. Words that move people. The language of influence. Language is the software that runs on the hardware of human psychology. Leaders understand that certain words have almost hypnotic power. They bypass rational thought and speak directly to emotion and action. Research from the Harvard Business Review identifies specific words that increase compliance and influence by up to 50%. These aren't manipulation tactics. They're understanding how the human brain responds to language patterns. Power words that command action. Immediately creates urgency. Proven builds trust. Exclusive triggers desire. Guarantee removes risk. But leaders go deeper than marketing catchwords. They use what I call leadership language patterns. The language of certainty. Replace "I think we might" with "we will." Replace "hopefully" with "when this happens." Replace "we should try" with "we're going to execute." The subtle shift from possibility to certainty changes everything. The language of ownership. Instead of "the team needs to improve performance," say "we're going to elevate our performance." Instead of "there are challenges," say "we face these opportunities to excel." Leaders don't distance themselves from problems. They own them and the solutions. The language of vision. Paint pictures with your words. Don't say "we need better customer service." Say, "imagine every customer hanging up the phone feeling like they just talked to their most helpful friend." Don't say "increase sales." Say, "picture the moment when we ring the bell to celebrate exceeding our quarterly target by 20%. Here's a powerful technique called future pacing. Instead of describing what you want to happen, describe it as if it's already happened. When we launch this product and see the customer response, after we implement these changes and see the results. This subtle shift makes success feel inevitable rather than hopeful. The magic of because. Harvard psychologist Ellen Langer discovered that adding because to any request increases compliance by 60%. Instead of, "We need this report by Friday," say, "We need this report by Friday because it will help us make critical decisions for next quarter." The reason doesn't even have to be profound. The word because triggers automatic compliance. Words create reality. Choose them like you're architecting the future, because you are. 4. Tone and presence. Leading without saying much. The most powerful leaders often speak the least, but when they do, every word carries weight. Their secret isn't volume, it's presence. They understand that how you say something is often more important than what you say. Vocal presence has 4 key components. Resonance. Your voice should come from your chest, not your throat. Practice speaking with your hand on your chest. You should feel vibration. Deep. Resonant voices are subconsciously associated with authority and calm confidence. Margaret Thatcher famously worked with a voice coach to lower her pitch because research showed deeper voices command more respect. Pace. Leaders speak 10 to 15% slower than average conversational pace. This deliberate pacing serves multiple purposes. It makes you seem more thoughtful, it ensures people can follow your logic, and it projects calm control. When everyone else is speaking quickly due to nerves or excitement, your steady pace makes you the anchor in the room. Volume control. This isn't about speaking loudly. It's about dynamic range. Leaders know when to lean in and speak softly to create intimacy, and when to project to energize a room. The key is intention. Every volume choice should serve your message. Strategic silence. The spaces between your words are as important as the words themselves. A well-placed pause can emphasize a point, allow emotion to sink in, or create anticipation. Watch any great TED Talk. The speakers use silence like a musical instrument. Here's a presence-building exercise. For 1 week, lower your speaking volume by 10%. This forces people to lean in and pay closer attention. You'll be amazed how this simple change makes people perceive you as more thoughtful and authoritative. The energy match and lead technique. Start by matching the energy level of your audience, then gradually lead them where you want them to go. If they're low energy, don't blast them with enthusiasm. Meet them where they are, then slowly elevate. If they're chaotic and scattered, use your calm presence to anchor them. Remember, your presence is your first communication before you say a word. Make it count. 5. The secret of pauses. Silence that speaks louder than words. Silence is the most underutilized tool in the leader's communication arsenal. In a world of constant noise, the person who masters strategic silence commands attention like nothing else. Neuroscientists have discovered that strategic pauses trigger something called attentional reset in listeners' brains. When you pause deliberately, you're essentially pressing the refresh button on their attention, making them hyper-focused on what comes next. The 3 types of leadership pauses. The dramatic pause, used before delivering something important. The results of our Q3 performance are pause, extraordinary. This pause builds anticipation and signals that what follows matters. The processing pause, used after asking a question or delivering complex information. This gives people time to absorb what you've said and shows respect for their thinking process. Weak communicators feel compelled to fill every silence. Leaders use silence as a tool. The control pause, used when you're interrupted or when the room gets chaotic. Simply stop talking and wait. The silence will draw attention back to you naturally, and you'll regain control without having to fight for it. Here's a counterintuitive truth. The more senior your audience, the more they appreciate strategic silence. C-suite executives and board members are used to rapid-fire presentations and constant chatter. When someone uses silence deliberately, it signals sophistication and confidence. The question-pause-response pattern. When someone asks you a question, especially a challenging one, resist the urge to respond immediately. Pause for 2 to 3 seconds, then respond. This pause does 3 things. It shows you're considering their question seriously, it prevents you from giving a rushed or defensive answer, and it makes you appear more thoughtful and measured. Abraham Lincoln was famous for his strategic use of silence. He would often sit quietly in meetings, letting others exhaust their arguments, then deliver a single, well-considered statement that settled the matter. His silence gave weight to his words. Practice this. In your next 3 conversations, deliberately pause for 3 seconds before responding to any question. Notice how the quality of your responses improves and how differently people react to you. Silence isn't empty space, it's pregnant with possibility. Master it, and you master attention itself. 6. Confidence in every sentence, without arrogance. There's a razor-thin line between confidence and arrogance, and great leaders walk that line with surgical precision. Confidence attracts and inspires. Arrogance repels and alienates. The difference isn't in what you say, it's in how you frame it. Confident leaders exhibit what psychologists call quiet confidence, an unshakable belief in their abilities and vision, expressed through calm certainty rather than loud proclamations. The confidence formula. Preparation breeds confidence. You can't fake deep confidence. It comes from knowing your material so thoroughly that you could discuss it from any angle. When you're truly prepared, confidence isn't something you have to put on. It's something you can't help but radiate. Own your expertise without diminishing others. Instead of, "I'm probably the best person to handle this," say, "My experience with similar situations positions me well to lead this initiative." The message is the same, but the delivery elevates rather than isolates. Use confident body language. Stand tall, make eye contact, use purposeful gestures. But here's the key. Your physical confidence must match your verbal confidence. If your words are strong, but your posture is weak, people will believe your body over your words. The humility balance. The most confident leaders regularly acknowledge what they don't know and give credit to others. This isn't weakness, it's supreme confidence. Only someone truly secure in their abilities can say, "I don't have the answer to that, but I know who does," or "That brilliant insight came from Sarah's research." Eliminate confidence killers from your language. "This might be wrong, but I'm no expert, but does that make sense?" Sorry to interrupt, but replace them with confidence builders. Based on my analysis, my experience shows. Here's what we know. I'd like to add this perspective. The competence-warmth balance. Harvard psychologist Amy Cuddy's research reveals that the most effective leaders balance high competence with high warmth. Competence without warmth seems arrogant. Warmth without competence seems weak. The combination is magnetic. Show competence through your preparation and expertise. Show warmth through your genuine interest in others' success and your willingness to be vulnerable when appropriate. The strong opinions loosely held principle. Express your views with conviction, but remain open to new information. I firmly believe this is our best path forward, and I'm open to hearing perspectives that might strengthen or refine this approach. Remember, true confidence is quiet, competent, and compelling. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. 7. The psychology of persuasion, getting people to follow you. Leadership isn't about commanding compliance. It's about inspiring commitment. The leaders who create lasting change understand the deep psychology of human motivation and use it ethically to help people choose to follow. Robert Cialdini's research identified 6 principles of influence that leaders can use to create genuine buy-in. Reciprocity. When you give value first, people feel compelled to return it. Great leaders lead with generosity. They share insights, offer help, and provide opportunities before asking for anything in return. Before we discuss what I need from the team, let me share what I can do to support each of you. Social proof. People look to others for cues about how to behave. Leaders leverage this by highlighting examples of success and creating momentum. 3 of our departments have already implemented this strategy and seen 25% improvement. This isn't manipulation. It's helping people see what's possible. Commitment and consistency. People want to be consistent with their previous commitments. Instead of telling people what to do, get them to commit to what they'll do. What would need to be true for you to fully support this initiative? So if we ensure those conditions are met, I can count on your commitment? Liking. We follow people we like, and we like people who are similar to us, who complement us, and who cooperate with us toward shared goals. Leaders build genuine relationships and find authentic common ground. Authority. This isn't about position power. It's about credible expertise. Demonstrate your knowledge through your insights, your track record, and your depth of understanding. Let your competence speak before your title does. Scarcity. People value what's rare or time-limited. We have a narrow window to capitalize on this market opportunity. The first 3 departments to implement this will receive additional resources. A leader's persuasion framework. Connect before you direct. Understand what motivates each person individually. What are their goals, fears, and aspirations? Tailor your message to their internal drivers. Paint the vision vividly. Help people see and feel the future you're creating. Use sensory language. Make it tangible. Imagine walking into our office 6 months from now and seeing, "Address the WIIFM. What's in it for me?" People follow leaders who help them get what they want. Be explicit about how your vision serves their interests. Provide the path. Don't just describe the destination. Show the specific steps to get there. Uncertainty kills commitment. Handle objections before they're raised. You might be wondering how we'll handle the budget constraints. Here's our plan. The ultimate persuasion technique is what I call collaborative leadership. Instead of trying to convince people to follow your plan, involve them in creating the plan. When people help build the solution, they become invested in its success. Remember, the goal isn't to win arguments. It's to align interests and inspire action toward shared goals. 8. Handling pressure. Speaking calmly in high-stakes moments. The true test of leadership communication comes when the stakes are highest. When the board is challenging your strategy. When your team is in crisis. When the media is asking tough questions. These are the moments that separate leaders from managers. Neuroscience shows us that under pressure, our brains default to one of 3 responses: fight, flight, or freeze. None of these serve leadership communication well. Leaders learn to activate what psychologists call the challenge response instead of the threat response. The pressure response framework. Physiological control. Before you speak, control your physiology. Take 3 deep breaths, feeling your shoulders drop with each exhale. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and slows your heart rate. Ground yourself by feeling your feet on the floor. This simple technique has been used by everyone from Navy SEALs to Supreme Court justices. The cognitive reframe. Instead of thinking, "This is a threat to my reputation," think, "This is an opportunity to demonstrate leadership." Instead of, "They're attacking me," think, "They're giving me a chance to clarify my position and show I can handle pressure." The stop technique. Stop and breathe. Think about what's really being asked. Organize your response around key points. Proceed with clarity and purpose. High-pressure communication strategies. Slow down everything. When pressure mounts, speak 20% slower than normal. This forces calm and clarity. It also prevents you from saying something you'll regret. Acknowledge the pressure. This is clearly a critical decision point, and I appreciate the gravity of what we're discussing. This shows you understand the stakes without being defensive. Bridge to your message. That's an important question, and it relates directly to our core strategy. This technique lets you acknowledge their concern while steering the conversation toward your key messages. Use the broken record technique. Calmly repeat your main points. As I mentioned, our analysis shows 3 clear options. Let me walk through each one again. Consistency under pressure builds credibility. The power of "let me think about that." You don't have to answer every question immediately. Taking a moment to consider shows thoughtfulness, not weakness. Crisis communication rules. Never lie or mislead, even if the truth is uncomfortable. Take responsibility without making excuses. Focus on solutions, not blame. Communicate with empathy for those affected. Follow up with actions, not just words. The pressure practice. Regularly put yourself in lower-stakes pressure situations to build your tolerance. Volunteer to speak at events. Take on challenging presentations. Engage in debates. Like physical exercise, communication under pressure gets easier with practice. When John F. Kennedy addressed the nation during the Cuban Missile Crisis, he didn't speak faster or louder. He spoke with deliberate calm that reassured a terrified nation. That's the power of composed leadership communication. Remember, how you communicate under pressure reveals your true leadership character. Make it count. 9. Storytelling for leaders. How to inspire action. Facts tell, but stories sell. Stories inspire action. The most influential leaders in history weren't just good with facts and figures. They were master storytellers who could make their vision feel real, urgent, and inevitable. Stories work because they hijack our brain's natural processing system. When we hear a story, our brains don't just process information, they experience it. Mirror neurons fire as if we're living the story ourselves. This is why a well-told story can be more persuasive than a PowerPoint full of statistics. The leader's story structure. The challenge story. Let me tell you about a time when we faced what seemed like an impossible situation. These stories show your resilience and problem-solving ability while inspiring confidence that current challenges can be overcome. The vision story. Imagine it's 2 years from now, and a new employee is joining our company. As I'm showing them around, they notice something different about how people work here. These stories make abstract goals concrete and compelling. The value story. Early in my career, I had to make a choice between the easy path and the right path. These stories communicate your principles without preaching. The learning story. I once made a mistake that taught me something I'll never forget. These stories show vulnerability and growth, making you relatable while imparting wisdom. The 4 elements of leadership stories. Relatability. Your audience must be able to see themselves in the story. Use universal emotions and experiences. Specificity. Vague stories don't stick. Include specific details that make the story vivid. It was 2:30 in the morning. I was in my office with coffee-stained spreadsheets scattered across my desk. Emotional arc. Every story needs tension and resolution. What was at stake? What happened? How did it feel? Clear message. What should people take away? Don't leave it to chance. The lesson I learned that day was advanced storytelling techniques, the nested loop. Start a story, pause it to make a point, then return to finish it. This keeps attention and builds anticipation. Sensory details. Don't just describe what happened. Help people experience it. The silence in the room was so thick you could hear the air conditioning humming. Dialogue. Include actual conversations. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "We either do this right or we don't do it at all." The story bank principle. Great leaders maintain a collection of go-to stories for different situations. Develop stories that illustrate your values in action. Times you overcame adversity. Moments when teamwork made the difference. Examples of innovation or creative problem-solving. Instances where taking calculated risks paid off. The call to action bridge. Always connect your story to what you want people to do now. Just like in that situation, we have an opportunity today to choose the bold path over the safe path. Here's what that looks like. Steve Jobs was legendary for his product launch stories. He didn't just announce features, he told the story of how those features would change people's lives. When he introduced the iPhone, he told the story of 3 revolutionary devices in one, building anticipation with each revelation. Your stories become part of your leadership legacy. Choose them wisely, craft them carefully, and tell them with purpose. 10. Building a legacy with your words. The words you speak as a leader don't just disappear into the air. They echo through time, shaping culture, influencing decisions, and inspiring action long after you've left the room. The most powerful leaders understand that every conversation is an opportunity to build a legacy. Your communication legacy is built on 4 pillars. Consistency. People need to know what to expect from you. Your values, your message, and your character should be consistent across all interactions, whether you're speaking to the CEO or the newest intern. This consistency builds trust and creates a reputation you can rely on. Authenticity. The leaders we remember aren't the ones who sounded like everyone else. They're the ones who brought their unique perspective, voice, and humanity to their communication. Don't try to sound like someone else's version of a leader. Sound like the best version of yourself. Impact. Every time you speak, ask yourself, how will this conversation be different because I was part of it? Great leaders don't just participate in conversations, they elevate them. They ask better questions, provide deeper insights, and help others think more clearly. Growth. Your communication should evolve as you grow. The leader you are today should communicate differently than the leader you were 5 years ago. Continuously refine your skills, expand your perspective, and deepen your wisdom. The legacy framework. What do you want to be known for? Are you the leader who always tells the truth, even when it's difficult? The one who sees opportunity in every challenge? The one who develops other people? Your communication should consistently reinforce your desired legacy. What conversations matter most? Not every interaction carries equal weight. Identify the moments that matter: performance reviews, strategic planning sessions, crisis communications, public presentations. Prepare for these conversations with the intentionality they deserve. Who are you developing? Great leaders use their communication skills to develop the next generation. Share your expertise generously. Ask questions that help others think more deeply. Create opportunities for emerging leaders to practice their own communication skills. How will your words live on? The phrases you use, the stories you tell, the principles you articulate will be repeated by others. Choose them with that permanence in mind. Some of your words will outlive you. Make them worthy of that immortality. The daily legacy practice. Each morning, ask yourself, what's one conversation I can have today that will make a positive difference in someone else's life or work? Then have that conversation with full presence and intentionality. Each evening, reflect. What did I communicate today that I'm proud of? What would I do differently? This daily practice compounds over time into extraordinary leadership presence. The ripple effect. Your words create ripples that extend far beyond their immediate impact. The confidence you build in a team member may lead them to take on a challenging project. The vision you articulate may inspire someone to change careers. The feedback you provide may help someone develop a crucial skill. Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Your legacy isn't just in your words, it's in the feelings, aspirations, and actions your words inspire in others. The leaders we remember from history aren't just those who achieved great things. They're those who communicated great things in ways that moved hearts and minds. Lincoln's words at Gettysburg, Churchill's rallying cries during World War II, King's dream speech, Jobs' commencement address at Stanford. Your words have that same potential. Use them wisely. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to imagine something. It's 5 years from now, and you're walking through your office, your community, your industry. People turn when you speak. They lean in when you share your perspective. They feel inspired by your vision and confident in your direction. This isn't fantasy. This is your future, if you choose to claim it. Everything we've covered in the last 30 minutes, the voice of power, the command of attention, the language of influence, the presence that needs no introduction. These aren't abstract concepts. They're tools. They're skills. They're learnable, practicable, and measurable abilities that you can start using today. But here's the truth. Knowing these techniques isn't enough. You have to use them. You have to practice them. You have to commit to becoming the leader your potential demands you to be. Starting today, I challenge you to implement one technique from each section we've covered. Eliminate weak language from your vocabulary. Use strategic pauses in your next meeting. Tell one compelling story this week. Handle the next high-pressure situation with deliberate calm. Your voice has power. Your words have impact. Your communication can change everything. For yourself, for your team, for your organization, and for everyone whose lives you touch. The world needs leaders who can cut through the noise, speak with clarity and conviction, and inspire action toward meaningful goals. The world needs leaders who understand that how you communicate isn't just about getting your message across. It's about unlocking human potential and creating positive change. The world needs the leader you're capable of becoming. Your transformation starts now. Your legacy begins with your next conversation. Go speak like the leader you were born to be.